Hi again. Welcome to the third and final teaching of our second portion of teachings called Next Level Leadership. That second block of teachings was called Tapping into Your Potential as a Leader, and today's lesson is called The Art of Decision Making. The teaching, The Art of Decision Making, is based on this premise, that within each of us there is an executor or an implementer and a decision maker. Let me give you an example of what that might look like. Buying a car, for example. Let's say you've made the decision that you're going to buy a car, and so you've read some of the magazines on the cars that are out there. You've gone online on the internet and you've researched makes and models of cars. You've picked out the kind of car that you want. You've looked for the features and the add-ons that you want to be a part of the car that you're going to purchase. You've decided on the color. And so the decision maker is at work. And the decision maker decides exactly what he wants. And now it's time to go to the car lot and get your car. Well, that's where the executor of the decision should emerge. But what usually happens is there you meet the salesman, we're intimidated a little bit by the salesman, and the decision maker begins to emerge again. Instead of executing the decision that you've already made, the decision maker re-enters the picture. Another example is golf. Let's say you hit your tee shot and you find yourself 80 yards from the green. The golfer stands over his bag of clubs and the decision maker is at work. He's deciding which club he should use. So he assesses everything. He looks at distance. Okay, I'm 80 yards out. Which way is the wind blowing? Is the wind behind me or is the wind against me? What are the ramifications of being long? What are the ramifications of being short on my shot? So the decision maker compiles all of the information and makes a decision. So maybe he selects his 9-iron. Well, so now he puts the 9-iron into the hand of the executor. And the executor should execute the shot. But what often happens to us is that as we address our ball, as we stand over the golf ball, the decision maker creeps back into our mind. And we begin to say things like, maybe the wind is blowing harder than I thought. Maybe the ramifications of being long are more significant than I thought they were. And so often we stand with a certain club, with 9-iron in our hand, and as we're standing over the ball, we're saying something like, I should really be using a pitching wedge. The decision maker is about to make our shot for us, when in fact it should be the executor. In Major League Baseball, the story is told of a play at second base that was really close, and the runner slid in, the fielder caught the ball, applied the tag, and nobody knew if he was safe or out. They both looked at the umpire, they said, what is it? And the umpire said, it ain't nothing till I call it. There's a progression in decision making that I can help you with. And let me give it to you, and hopefully it'll be a profitable to you as a leader, as well as in other aspects of your life. The progression of decision making. Number one is prayer. Good decision makers want God close at hand. It was Moses in Exodus 33:15 who said, God, if you're not going with us, then we don't want to go either. Good leaders, good decision makers want God close at hand. Every prayer should be birthed and bathed, or every decision should be birthed and bathed in prayer. Number two, wise counsel, both within the organization and outside of the organization. Proverbs 24:6 says, for by wise counsel thou shalt make thy war, and in a multitude of counselors there's safety. There's a reason A golfer has a caddy. It's to help him make those decisions. You will often make a bad decision, maybe an emotional decision, and you need somebody from outside the organization to give you a balanced view. So wise counsel. Number 3, visualize the future ramifications, both positive and negative. I know that term visualize sounds a little new agey. I think they stole it from us. I'm stealing it back. Visualize the future ramifications, both positive and negative, of your decision. What does it look like 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years down the line? Proverbs 22:3 says, a prudent man foresees the evil and hides from it, but the simple pass on and are punished. So visualize the decision you're making, what it will look like if you decide this way down the line, and what it will look like if you decide this way down the line. Number 4, evaluation. Decide only after evaluation is done. Luke 14 talks about counting the cost. No one builds a tower, they say, without assessing first whether they have what it takes to get it done. No king goes to war unless he knows whether or not he can win. So evaluation, that's the information gathering part of the process where we assess and evaluate. Number 5, don't look back after we make our decision. We must commit to the decision that's made. We do not decide and then redecide. I believe in our Western culture that we've become very poor decision makers. We redecide almost daily, and we invest and expend all kinds of energy redeciding on a regular basis. James 1:8 says, a double-minded man is unstable in all of his ways. There's a great story out of the history books about the Spanish explorer Cortez, who sailed with his men and his armies from Spain to Mexico. And when he assembled his troops in Mexico, they began to hear rumors of the fierceness of the Aztec warriors. And as Cortez looked into the eyes of his men, he saw that they were redeciding. They were re-evaluating. They were questioning whether or not they should be there, and they were thinking about returning. And Cortez took a torch from one of his men and made his way through his army to where the ships were docked, and he set each of the ships on fire. He burned the ships. And as he looked into the eyes of his men, he saw that the fear and the uncertainty had gone, and it had turned to commitment. Once we make a decision, we have to burn the ships. We don't look back. We don't redecide every day. And number 6, we set a time for reevaluation. 1 Thessalonians 5:21 says, prove all things and hold fast to that which is good. So there's a time, there's an appropriate time to reevaluate a decision. But that's not every day. It's at a set time. And if it's good, then we hold fast to it. If it was a bad decision, then we make another decision from that point. But you cannot live your life redeciding all your decisions every day. Here's some questions to ask yourself as you make decisions. First of all, why am I making this decision? That's a question of motive. Is this the right decision right now? That's a question of timing. And does this decision fit my mission? That's a question of priority. Let me give you some helpful keys to good decision making. Good leaders allow delegated authority to make as many decisions in their own area as possible. A CEO doesn't make all the decisions for the company. He lets the people that are over specific areas make as many decisions as possible. Good leaders allow delegated authority to make as many decisions as possible in their own area. Good decisions are made in an atmosphere of faith and love. As leaders, it's up to us to create an atmosphere of faith and love. And the reason for that is bad decisions are made in a spirit of fear. If we create an atmosphere where people are afraid to fail, I guarantee you this, there will be more bad decisions made. Instead, we need to create an atmosphere of faith and love. Good decisions are made in favor of God before self. We tend toward selfishness. We lean toward laziness. And so that can't be our guide. We have to make decisions in favor of God before self. Good decisions encompass more than just the moment. They're long-term good decisions. Good leaders see the big picture. Good leaders make decisions that are based on the long term and not just the moment. You'd often get two very different results. If I'm making a decision based on right now, that's often going to be a very different decision than if I make the decision based on the long-term result. Good leaders, good decision makers encompass more than just the moment. Good leaders sometimes make decisions to table a decision. To table a decision means to postpone deciding. And here's why we might do that. For one thing, further evaluation is needed. Many times in the process we discover we don't know everything we need to know to make a decision. So we table it in lieu of further evaluation. Another reason we might table it is that more information is about to become available. If we're thinking about taking out a loan and we know the interest rates are going to be adjusted down on next Tuesday, then we want to wait for that information to come available, so we table the decision. Number three, another reason we might table a decision is that more consultation with experts or specialists is needed. Often we make decisions that involve things that we don't know a lot about. And so we have to consult experts. We have to bring in specialists and learn and discover from them. And so until we do that, we table the decision. Good leaders bring core people along with them in the decision-making process. Good leaders keep those affected by the decision informed. There's a great scene in the TV show MASH, the episode entitled Bug Out. There's rumors circulating that the outfit, the unit is going to be packing up and moving to another location. And Frank says, "Don't tell the enlisted." And Hawkeye said, "Why? Aren't they invited?" Good leaders keep those affected by a decision informed. The more involvement people have in the process, the more they feel a part of the decision, the more likely they are to buy into it and to own it. Here's a great little phrase for you. Equally informed people seldom differ. Equally informed people seldom differ. In the decision-making process, conflict is often a part of it. But good leaders do not avoid conflict. They confront it. They utilize it. And in due course, they embrace it. Most of what we really learn comes out of conflict. It's not an unhealthy thing when it's handled correctly. So that's hopefully a helpful lesson for you when it comes to the art of decision making. Again, I think in the Western culture, the world in which we live, we've become really poor decision makers. And so my encouragement to you today is to take a look at the process of decision making. And then every decision that you have to make in the future, you run through that process. You run through that grid of decision making. And I believe it'll keep you on track and it'll save you a lot of energy that we waste. Hey, thanks for being a part of this second round of Next Level Leadership. Look forward to what we have in the future in part 3. But may the Lord bless and keep you. And know this, I love you guys.